Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business. I have the helicopter hat. It's got propellers on top, and that means we can fly into the sky. And you can also see the wings, can't you? Oh dear. It's the 10th episode of FoolCraft. It's long overdue. We have flight, people. We have flight. We can descend into the heavens. Fantastic. I'm going to do a live stream plug again. You're probably sick of hearing these, aren't you? I did a live stream. That's how I got flight. If you'd like to check it out, there'll be a link in the description box. It was pretty awesome. We made this angel ring and it involved us flinging ourselves about through the nether with a slime sling, which was kind of crazy because to make this, you got to capture yourself a bat and a ghast. That was not too difficult. We also had to get a ring of the flying squid, which required a squid. Now, I put this on, and it's also made out of this chicken wing ring, which I also put on. That requires a chicken. Those two didn't actually make me fly or do anything at all, as far as I could tell. Kind of interesting. And anyway, the angel ring works, and now I can fly around, and it's just wonderful. You may notice there's something different going on over here. We'll talk about that in a second. There was another thing I did in the stream, which was get myself a magnet. Now, this thing you can hold in your inventory, or you can put it over here. And it actually, if you look at my little character, goes around my neck. Let's take off these two things quickly. Like, that's really funny, but I think that's intended, because if you put any old item up here, surely it wouldn't render unless there was, I don't know, some code that meant it could render. Also, I think this thing is getting a charge from a wireless charger that I threw up here, as I see the little hotbar blink every now and then. So it uses power to pull items on the ground towards you, which is terrific. So when we're doing big projects and stuff, it means we don't have to fly around picking our items up, which is pretty cool. And so on that live stream, I did a whole bunch of things that I'll show you later on. And we also started working on this, an expansion to the area that we got over there, except I didn't really finish it. This is a bit of a mess, so the first thing that we're going to do is tidy away this mess and work on expanding this area. So look at this area now, nice and tidy, very lush and clean and straightforward. Oh, I do like it. This is how we're going to move forward with this area. We're going to put all of our machines and odd things that we use into these little areas here. These can also have power cables put below them, so they can be fully charged as well. And the same goes for the other side. This is looking nice and clean. And I didn't actually show you this before. There is a little bit of prismarine going on here. Otherwise, it's plain marble on the inside. I like that. I like that a lot. But one thing you may have noticed around this place is the crafting grid is now over here, and it's carefully been put inside of a block. I'm going to show you how to do that. But I've just noticed that the sun is going down. We should grab some lights. I had some lights. There they are. They got the number covering the whole thing. It kind of makes it tricky to see. And these are inverted lights, so they will just power themselves. And that... oh, that is nice. That brings a lot of light to the pillars, but not so much to the ground floor. And it puts a lot of light in front of the machines. Let's take a step back. That's gorgeous. That's the way to do it, peeps. That is the way to do it. Let's put a couple of lights over here. I'll finish installing them later. I want to show you how I did this because I had a little bit of investigating to do. And by the way, there's now an area below here. So we had a lot of junk lying around this place. And down here, I want to build a second room, which is going to be like a trophy room. A place we can come in and we can put all the little things that interest us, like potions, dragon heads, enderman heads. This thing actually spins around, and you can get it to get angry and look at you, like in an angry way, but I'm not sure how to get it to do that right now. We've also got little statues. We've got a cow statue, a zombie head. Of course, we've got Iskow and Rendog. They need a place to be put in a frame, and that is going to be down here, but I haven't started work on it yet. I actually came down here, didn't I, to place some ME cables so I could show you how this is done. I think we need to just put one in this gap, that's right, and then we place one at the bottom, so follow me here. It's pretty simple once you've figured it out. One at the top, place it on the side of the block here and here, and then we can add our terminal, which I crafted at the front here. I'm not actually going to hook that one up to the system, but look at that. Now the whole thing is nice and flush, which is fantastic. If we go below and place a cable down here, you'll see it actually come through that facade that we've placed, and you can connect that up. That's exactly how I did it on this side. And speaking of the old ME storage system, ME, that's not the right one, is it? AE, that's the one, Applied Energistics. We have tons and tons of essence over here, but you'll notice we have a lot more wither essence than diamond essence. That's because I was a little bit silly, okay? We put a hoe in last time, didn't we? We made that kind of infinitely durable one, and I forgot that the original one still had the old hoe in it, so this thing eventually broke, and it stopped producing essence for us. So this has been chunk loaded while I've been off the server, and now we've got crazy amounts of stuff. But because we've got all that wither essence, I was able to make the Supremium hoe. We now got that on each side, which is fantastic. And I think what we should do next is craft up a few more seeds. In fact, every episode I want to try and craft a few more seeds for this farm. We're going to do all of the tier 1 seeds this episode because they come in tiers. And actually, they're not quite as organised as I thought they were. It does appear to be that all the tier 1 seeds are grouped together here. And the only one that we don't have is nature seeds. And I think we just need to do a bit of adventuring because we've got to get this nature cluster, and I'm short of cactuses. So if we go and explore, it won't take us long to find something like that. But I've actually crafted up some of the other seeds and I've put them in down here. And they've been running for a while. And you may have noticed that they're only taking up these 5 spaces. We've got ice, water, stone, dirt, and wood. And this is because, as many of you pointed out in the previous episode, if I lock these when they're empty, they stay empty. So the seeds don't go into there and they don't get planted all over like these other ones, which means organising it's going to be a lot easier. So I'm going to leave these ones filled up until we come back over there, but we're going to use these two to now. You can see that we've hooked them up to the ender chests above as well. And so down here, those essences have been hooked into these basic drawers. And I got a ton of comments as well about setting the priority of this storage bus higher. So it's been set to 4. The other one is 5. I think you can actually set them both at 4. But that means when we chuck items into our system up above, casually, like we so often do, these will have priority over our storage disks. That is a really good thing to point out. I've done that before with refined storage, but of course it's very important to get it done on this system as well. Otherwise we'll end up with these items lingering around in our storage disks, which is kind of inefficient. So anyway, these essences that we're producing here, they're actually really, really useful. If we go and have a look at stone, for example, you might think that sounds boring, but if we see the uses of it, we can make cobblestone, stone, we can also craft diorite. So no one tell Iskau about that. This is going to be perfect for a prank. I think you're going to see a team prank coming along soon, that's for sure. We can craft andesite and granite, crack stone. I mean, there's lots of building options here that you can get from these, and combined with the nature essence and dirt, we can make gravel and moss stone, and there are a few other interesting ones as well. The wood essence can basically make all the different vanilla types of wood, so we've got that covered nice and easy, and it will make all the saplings as well. So basically there is a ton of stuff you can get from these essences, and combined with other ones, you know, there's loads of stuff here to see. I don't really want to show this all on camera though, it's probably a little bit boring, but I find it interesting flicking through and seeing all the combos that we can make, and of course with time we'll be able to make everything from there, which is going to be our goal. So we're going to make that nature essence seed in a moment. I also remembered something I forgot about. I fought the wither a bunch of times to make those hoes earlier in the episode. And I actually got some loot bags over here, and all of these are ones we haven't opened before, including my own xisumavoid loot bag. Now, I've got a feeling that maybe 1 or 2 of these will be the same as last season. In fact, might be all of them, I can't remember. Let's open my one, and do you know what? That is actually the same as last season. It does mean that we can spawn Evil Asuma. Was that who we had last season? Let's spawn this fella in. That's definitely Evil Asuma. Okay, I'm actually going to put you back in your soul vial, and I think that guy needs a place of permanent residence somewhere around here. So we've got Stress Monsters bag. I don't think we're going to get anything terribly useful in here. This is Force's one. We can get a wolf. Okay, and these haven't changed. Oh, block of emeralds. That's alright. These haven't changed from last season, have they? Our nature essence is now in place, and you know what that means? We have all of the tier 1 seeds done. And the name of this video should have been something along the lines of Hat Farm, and we haven't even gotten near to that yet. So let's get to work on it. This episode we are going to be farming hats. It's going to be interesting. Aha, this place is going to be perfect. Can you see them? We got slime spawning, and some of them are wearing hats. I've seen 3 or 4 so far. That's a crazy looking hat right there. Goodness me, that was like a giant whale. So we're going to use this. Ooh, that's an interesting one. And the first part is going to be really straightforward and simple. The second part is what's going to be interesting to figure out. We're going to start off by basically disabling these diamond spikes. Let's pick them up. And then removing the cobblestone down below. And then we're going to have to dig a hole. I didn't think this all the way through, I guess. I thought that there was just going to be a gap underneath there. Now these things are pushing me at the moment, but I can fly, so this shouldn't be too painful. Now the large ones might not go down a 2x2 hole. You see, I haven't thought this all the way through, have I? And this is like a very manual thing as well. It's not like we can hit a switch and put the spikes back in place. Maybe that's something I'll figure out later on. So actually, let's make this 3x3 to begin with. And let's also hope that that doesn't flow down here. Let's block this off. So full distance isn't going to be too much of an issue, although we don't want too many of them dying from full damage. Maybe this is actually a bad idea. As we work on this, my ideas are changing constantly. I came to this with a pretty clear concept of what to do, but then you start doing it and your brain starts ticking over. So I was going to go to the bottom of the island and build a little killing station down here. The thing is that the second size slimes, you know, the middle ones, they might die from full damage. I don't know how much they can take. So the shorter the drop, the better. I think the small ones will just die. And if the second ones do die of full damage, they will split up. However, we want to try and kill all of these is the idea. And we may just use some fans at some point to push them into the center here as well. Because we're going to have to do something interesting, which is stand here with some sort of clicker system, automatically clicking on the keyboard. So I can use Choppy McChopface and one hit kill everything. But as you saw a moment ago, when the slimes were spawning, they were spawning with hats on. And here we go, here's our first little test. Okay, so the big one dropped in quite easy, and that gives us a bunch of squishy monsters to attack. So I'm going to stand here, AFK like this, just hitting over and over again. And that's why we're going to need the fans to put them in the central position. Or maybe we could use something different, like conveyor belts. Now, as I'm automatically clicking, I'm racking up the kills. I might even be getting experience, although I don't see any orbs. And there we go, we've got a hat over there. And it's one that I've unlocked. So I've unlocked a Dalek hat. Excellent. So now, if I can AFK here for some time killing the slimes, that means that we're making a hat farm. Look, we've got 2 so far, and I haven't even automated this yet. As I kill the last of them, it occurs to me why I thought that we needed a drop originally. These ideas in my head, they just go back and forth over and over again. Nothing is spawning at the moment because we're too close to the farm. So there was a reason I needed that drop. And it does mean that some of the slimes are going to die in that drop, unfortunately. But it is necessary in order for us to kill the bigger ones. So this is going to get blocked up again. Get out of there, little fella. Jump to your demise. See you later. And we're actually going to have to go down here. In fact, I might just want to wait here and see if anything spawns. At the moment, nothing. But I'm going to be standing around here, so it might be a good idea for me to go lower. Now, here's another problem. The lower down I go, it means that caves down there are going to be spawning mobs. And we're going to be getting less slimes overall. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. So this was pretty quick to set up, and I've had slimes spawning over there when I've been standing in this spot. However, they're not very frequent. It's kind of worrying. So there are conveyor belts down here. These are from Simply Conveyors and More. They were nice and cheap to craft, actually. This stuff's made out of iron. This stuff right here out of black leather, which you die like that. And we have plenty of leather, which is good. So this is going to push the mobs rather slowly down to the end here. And then the ones push them into the middle, which means we are all good to stand there now. I think we've covered all angles. The slimes go below, they get moved out, so we can stand over here and have slime spawning over there. Did one just... Yep, some just spawned, and one of them's wearing a hat. We're hat farming, peeps. Then over here I've got an absorption hopper going into our ender chest. This one doesn't have a diamond on it. Now, I got tons of comments about that, and I think I addressed it before, that I did actually put diamonds on them, and the server kind of freaked out and then removed it, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Looks like it's actually stayed without diamonds on. Okay, this is making a lot of noise. Yeah, they're all squashed into that space. So now all I got to do is stand here and click over and over again. So I need to find some sort of AFK clicker now. Do you see what I did? I kind of made a really big mistake. Those slimes are caught at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel is too high. Oh, that's ridiculous. It looks like what we'll be able to get away with, though, is removing the blocks underneath these slabs. So we'll raise the height of this up a little bit. But that was really silly. That was really silly of me. I've also had another idea as well. I'm going to lose hunger and health slowly, aren't I? So we kind of need like a regeneration beacon in the area. and that might not be enough as well, so we may also need some sort of auto-eating system. This has quickly gotten a lot more complex than I thought it was ever going to be. So peeps, I've turned my sound off for obvious reasons. There's going to be a lot of squishy sounds back there. Also, I'm clapping my hands because I've got an auto clicker working. So I have a program on my computer called Auto Hotkeys, which I use for a second keyboard to basically press buttons on that to launch programs and add derps to my derp counter when I'm live streaming. And I've gotten a script off the internet that basically makes that automatically click the mouse for us. So I can pause that by pressing F9. Hey, it worked, and I can resume it by pressing F9 again. There we go, and it's auto clicking. Right, so basically I'm going to sit back and let this thing run for a while. It's been over an hour now, and I come back and there's lots of slimes getting killed. I can see hats in there as well. And you may have just noticed it. I'm not sure if it happened before I hit record. Let's pause the script for now. On my hotbar, you'll see we've got the Pac-Man pet. So this eats food when you are hungry, and it's been doing that at the price of cookies, which we got, I think, I don't know, from a quest or something. We had like a stack of them, so I didn't need to craft them. And also, you can use these Ender IO blocks as a beacon base. So set up a beacon, we got the regeneration, and that's all good. But here's the thing, in order for me to use this, I can't do anything else on my PC, so I can't just leave it AFK while I do other things, meaning we won't actually be able to use this farm as much as I would like. Now, when I left, my axe had 121 Thor, and now it's up to 351, which doesn't actually sound like a lot. Now, when it comes to hats, I had, I think, 15 pages before we started doing this. And wow, we are up to 23, and there is 6 per page. So we probably got... So, oh, wow, I like that one. We've probably got some very cool hats in here. Check that out. That is a creepy-looking hat. Let's do the... Ah, we can't quite see it, unfortunately. There's probably loads of other awesome ones in here. I'll go through and I'll pick out, oh, some of my favourites. The Jester one is lovely. I'm different. Okay, apparently I'm different. A few of those we already had. The Leprechaun hat, that's new. Oh, that's lovely. Literal hat in the... Wait, what did it say? Literal cat in the hat. I like that one, that one. I am never going to be able to make up my mind on which hat we should be wearing, right? Those ones are some glasses. Awesome. Ah, it's the squid. Mr. T! Oh, these are so cool. The Norwegian flag. This is awesome. So we've gotten quite a few new ones. Well, obviously, we've got many pages worth. Plunger hat. This one I like a lot. A literal cat in the hat. Now, there is one other place we can check to see how much killing we've been doing. That's over here. It'll be... Oh, it's on the first page. Slime. Oh, you killed 4 slimes. You've never been killed by a slime. So it's they're modded slimes, that's the problem. Blue slimes, there we go, 1,599. Now, before we started that, would have been really good if I had checked what the number was, because I know I've killed quite a few of these. I also made another modification over here. Can you see how the big ones are dying? Well, they were just kind of getting stuck in there, and maybe if I raised the roof, they'd come all the way down to the end. But I added this diamond spike, and it seems to kill the big ones without killing the others, which is pretty cool. Although, if there's a lot of them getting pushed in at once, you can see some of the smaller ones falling onto that. But here we go. Zoom key. Do you see? One of them took damage, but I don't think it died. And do you know what? If it does die, I don't know where the items go. They might get picked up by these. And that's another thing. The entire time we've been doing that, we've been farming some more loot, which is pretty cool. You're going to notice 2 things, right? The axe is being swung faster, and I could possibly modify my script to swing it even faster than that, but now it's much more efficient. We are killing these slimes twice as quick. The other thing is the amount of XP that I've got. As you can see, that is ticking upwards, which it wasn't doing before, and it turns out that my modification I made here had nothing to do with it. I was thinking that the XP needed to come through the gap at the bottom. It was actually the magnet that I had wrapped around my neck of all places that drew the XP orbs towards you, but in a strange way it also stopped you from picking it up. So yeah, I removed that and then I started picking up all the experience. Now, I can't remember what number we were at a moment ago when I recorded, but I've only been AFKing for about 40 minutes. And down here we should see the blue slimes are up to 3,100, so that seems to be pretty good. And in here, 28 pages now. Last time we had 23. That is pretty awesome. Cage hat. Oh, bowl hat. There's some really funny ones in here, I'm sure. I think my obsidian armor gets in the way a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to have to come back to this later because I want to crack on with some other things in the world for a while. And we've spent plenty of time over here, but it has been a big success. We've created a hat farm. I should really try and find out actually how many hats there are in total. Inside my modded folder for FoolCraft, there is a folder called Hats, and all of the hats that I have in here are actually listed as files in there. Some of them are inside folders as well, so I've counted them up together, and there are 198 hats in total, with 28 pages, and assuming that we have 6 on all of them, so this might be off if the last page has a few less, which happens to do so. I believe that means we have 161 hats in total, giving us around 37 more to get, which is pretty cool. So I can use that number and I can come back to this over time, and eventually we'll figure out when we've got all of the hats in total. So we're going to say goodbye to this place for this episode and move on to something else. That's something else. What will it be? It'll be working on the path, okay? Tons of great feedback, and basically the general consensus is we're doing everything right, which is fantastic, but we are going to make some modifications and changes, really important ones actually. First of all though, this stuff down here has stopped running. We are actually out of power, so I've crafted up a few more of these cells. Should be enough if I counted correctly to go all the way around the top, which is really nice, and there we go. So we're generating more power overall. We might be able to see that affect this thing straight away. It looks like it has. Now this thing is slowly charging up. That's fantastic right there. Awesome. Let's go up top. Let's open these 2 loot bags that I got from killing all those slimes. Pet bag, what will it be? It's a creeper bet. Immune to explosions. Cool. And we can explode as well. Should we explode? No, not in this biome we won't. Okay, maybe another time. And then nothing particularly great in that one, which was an artifact loot bag. So let's focus on the path then over here. We're basically going to lower this into the block below. So if I break this here, I'll say hello to False in a moment, and I go to place it, it shows you where you're placing it. If you hold down shift, you can actually knock it down a little bit like that. The reason that's important, I believe, is because we actually want to sink this path into the same level as these blocks, because as I've talked about before, you can see the dirt on the side of the grass. We're only going to be able to hide that if we bring it down a little bit, and because we've got this border on the outside, we can actually have it slope downwards through the big blocks and not show the sides of the grass. Now if that explanation weren't good enough for you, I'm sorry, I can't really help. That was the best I could do, but I'll be able to show you it in just a moment. And I think we are placing that in the right place, but it won't let me. It's very hard to... oh goodness me, I don't know. It'd take me a while to figure out how to place this one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I was doing something that made it invalid, and now we've put it down by half a block. Let's try that again then. And that might have rotated it. I'm not sure if it did or not. So hold down shift and aha, I was over to one side too much. Hey, no, I wanted to place that. There we go. Alright, let's lower this all down. And so rather painfully, I moved these all down one by one, then filled in the edges with more grass. And as we walk backwards here, you'll see I've extended this down here. Now here's where things get a little bit interesting. I think this first bit here is a bit too steep, and at the top here you can actually get away with using some grass blocks, but the lower down you use them, you're going to see something like this, which I think looks a little bit ugly, so we're going to fill that back in. Then as we get even further down, oh, and I've just noticed I've left one of those on the outside. Let's put that there. As you get further down, it starts to spread out a bit more, and I think that's a lot nicer, but that kind of gradients is kind of hard to work in well, because you'll end up with bits like this where it gets a little bit high. So I decided to only go down as far as that, since that's where the path is going to connect up. Over on that side, some grass to fill it in. If we were to put some more here to make it a bit of a transition, we get the dirt, which is kind of ugly. And did that just swap around on my hotbar? It did. It's now over here. Then I also wondered, and we're out of grass. That's brilliant timing. So I was wondering, should we also be doing something like this, where we put in some grass lower down, okay, to give it a bit more of a transition, and then put a second ring of these? I'm not so sure. I think we're going to have to step back for this one. No, I really don't think that's going to work, actually. Well, that's an idea. If maybe you like that, try and convince me, but I don't think we want to do that. So back here at the main area, nothing much has changed. However, this area down below is going to be overtaken by Fool. So I was talking to her about it and saying I was basically going to do something here, and then I changed my mind. Oh yeah, that's the light that we placed down earlier. I thought that was like a name tag for a second, or something off in the distance. So she's going to be decorating this area, and we're going to be putting statues in it, I believe. We've got a bunch of our player statues over here, mob heads, and statues from the statues mod, which is actually something I would like to look into and learn more about how we can collect these statues, as there's loads of them for all the different mobs, or some of the different mobs in the game, which is pretty awesome. So we've got that to look forward to. I look forward to seeing what False is going to be doing. And you know what, I'm a little bit burned out on chisel and bits for today. I think I'm going to focus on doing these during live streams. So if you see another live stream, there'll probably be some chisel and bits action and me building a bit of a path. But anyway, that's where we're going to wrap up this episode today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like on the video. As always, thank you for your support on this series, and I'll see you in the next episode of FoolCraft. So ciao for now. Bye bye.